Second run we're gonna do for our guides here on an intermediate level, this being a Hunter story. So now this is gonna be a bit different than Hunter Pebbles. Specifically, we're going to be bringing the green neuron to Pebbles, then we're gonna bring it to Moon, and then we're gonna ascend at the end, which means that we have to meet 3 echoes on the way. The ones that we choose when we're trying to do the fastest route is going to be the Sky Islands, the Wall, and the Shaded Echo, given of the places where we'd like to save at any given time. Getting the Chimney Echo is definitely fine as well if you're more comfortable with doing that. Either way, you're going to be passing 4 echoes on this route, so choosing the ones that are best for you is definitely something, but I'll be getting the Sky Islands, Wall, and the Shaded Echo. So now this is a category based off of the base game category. We're specifically doing this on Downpour, but on the base game there is the intended percent category, or in this case for Hunter it's called all objectives. Now that is traditionally a glitchless category. We could still do this glitchless. I am going to be doing it for the most part as much as I can glitchless. I will try to show some cool things off of one glitch that could potentially be useful, but to be honest, it's really not going to be useful. I'm just going to do it because it's fun. Alright, we're going to be getting into the run. This is just going to be me playing the game and then be saying things that I think are relevant at any given time. One thing I find interesting with Downpour coming out is that in this sequence, but right when it loads in, you can actually do some inputs, which you didn't used to be able to, and actually mess up the intro sequence. So don't press anything right at the beginning anymore. That whole beginning there's a few ways to do it that are pretty fast. I like the throw a spear, so you 100% make it across the gap, but you also have to throw the neuron in your hand, given that's first in your hand. But it's depending on what you're okay with, then you don't have a spear for right there, depending on where it lands. Oh. Very in the way. Good timing on that one, though. So the main thing that I'm going to be doing is same with the Pebbles category for Hunter. And that being, I am going to bring the neuron all the way to the Sky Islands gate. And that's why I kind of say all of the... Ooh, it lagged there a lot. All of the Hunter categories are very, very alike. You pretty much do the same thing all the time. And that being, you go straight to Sky Islands, and then you're going to be going up the wall, and then down Chimney kind of idea. When I get to the... This is unfortunate. You get an opportunity, getting food now is always a good idea. So if you're in a good spot, always kind of go for it. Got a little stuck in that guy. That's fine. Otherwise, getting an orange lizard or drop wig kill would be recommended. Now, that's something I don't normally go into a lot of specifics when I'm trying to do a run like this, but for centipedes, the basic idea is how they work is pretend they can't see. They technically can, but the way their sight is based is more on how you make sound. So if you're on all fours and you're moving around, it's very hard for them to detect you. Additionally, the only touch sensitivity they have is on their feelers on both of their heads. Both sides of them are considered their heads. And so, if the feelers actually touch you, they 100% know that you're there. Which also means you can straight up just jump on the middle back of the centipede and actually make it across. And sometimes that's a thing. I messed up the thing here. There's a funny thing that you can do with spitting out the pearl here. And that being, if you spit out the pearl and you didn't touch it, like what I did initially, except I picked it up when I tried to mess with the spear a second there. If I never touched it at all and then I saved in a shelter, that pearl would then magically be in the shelter with me. I forget what the reasoning is for that, but it just is like, oh, I should be with the player because he didn't actually put me anywhere. I just was suddenly there, but I should be where the player is because he didn't actually touch me and put me anywhere. So we're just going to be going through Sky Islands as normal. One definitely thing about that previous room is you want to go on that upper path if you can. There's a lot of people in the way. Flying centipede, just pretend it's not there unless it's super in the way. If it is flying a awfully direct path to you, then you want to start being worried. There was a dropwig there. I don't need to eat food. We're just going to keep going. The dropwig does not care about anything, apparently. I don't know what's going on. We're going to do a backflip for this one. I'm going to try to save the spear. Okay, good. Very good. Climbing up here. Once again, a little bit of a... Although I'm saying intermediate, I'm still just going to spout out random stuff at any given time, because people always find it interesting. If you throw an item in the air, or in 0G, you do move in the direction and gain significant speed in the direction that you threw the item. And so if you need that just bit more distance for whatever it is, there's a camo lizard there, then consider doing that. Alright, so here's the part where you can do glitch. That just being karma caching. I'm just going to starve and then go see the echo. For Hunter, for meeting echoes, you do not need to prime the echo. And by priming, I mean you go to the room where the echo is, it does the flash, and then next time you go there with maximum karma, it will be there. For Hunter, you just need a maximum karma, and then you need to go there, and then it'll be there. So we're going to starve, and I'm going to go there. Otherwise, you can quit out and then rejoin, and then you'll be, if you have vanilla exploits on, then you'll have maximum karma while not starving. So we're gonna do it starving. The basic idea with starving is if you're doing any major movement, I said this before with the other category, but if you're doing any major movement, whether, especially when you're doing jumps and throws and stuff, and even climbing poles, a meter is slowly building. When you're walking around, I think it'll just not change. Okay. And then when you perform in major actions, which is especially on jumps and throws, then it'll have a chance to cause you to pass out. If you're just walking around forever, you won't ever pass out. But if you perform a major action like a jump or a throw while the meter is above a threshold, you have a chance to get stunned. If you're higher above that threshold, then you won't get stunned. Well, if you're even higher above that threshold, it's a higher chance for you to get stunned. And the only way for it to go down is to just stop moving, with it going down even faster when you're not moving and laying down, which is why if you do pass out and you're in the panting state, you want to just lay down and wait for it to stop, because when you hit that state, you'll just get random stuns and you want to get out of there. I brought the poppers. I'm gonna throw them here. All creatures will move away from where they heard it. The farther away they are, the less it affects them. We're gonna go around the loop-de-loop. He has no idea where we went. We want food. However, the cyan lizard is here. So we're just gonna kill everyone, apparently. Pretend this guy doesn't exist. I didn't want to have to kill the cyan just to try to do it faster. I was hoping I would get enough food on the first orange lizard, but things just happen. I'm gonna pretend he's not there. Big jump here. Gonna kind of say the same thing before. Well, one, with the cyan lizard we saw a second ago, if the spear is at a downwards trajectory and the lizard has its mouth open, it will hit its mouth. It will hit its body through its mouth, and it'll do more stun. The ways you can get a downward trajectory is either doing a slide and then throwing at the same time, or just going from the upright state to laying down and throwing during it, and then it'll work like that. This jump, we're gonna start, we want to do a backflip, and then we start rolling right at the part right here on the platform. I wish I had throwables. But we're going to start the roll right there, and then we're going to jump right at the end. I like to throw something when I do that, because it's always a little scary. But if you do that, and you get consistent at it, that's one of the big things. Alright, if we had a spear, I would use a spear to get up here. Otherwise, I have wall pounces on. I'm not the most proficient at this one. but that is definitely something I would have in your arsenal. The more and more I use wall pounces, the more and more I like it. Although sometimes it feels like I still don't understand it at all. Just knowing that that is an option can give you guys the opportunity to try that out if you do want it. I looked away from the screen and didn't even know he was there. I shouldn't have thrown the second one. We're gonna wait here so he doesn't see us down through this part. What is happening to this man? He's just letting go of everything. He basically walked. Why is there 5 spears up there? I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna grab this though. Alright, this jump. Jump and throw. You need to throw or you're not going to make it. I just hold right when hitting that platform. Don't worry about it too much. I'm gonna have an item because I want items. There can be a pink lizard up here. This pink lizard, in a lot of cases, is the thing I try to go get to eat food if I can't get an orange lizard. But sometimes it's just magically not here. It might be in this room, or it just might have fell into a death pit. Oh, I can hear him. What's he doing? Yes. Purple lizard, pink lizard. Does whatever he wants. Trying to do backflip for this part. I messed it up. Doing it again. Oh my goodness. Could use a spear. Don't want to. That's fine. Yes. One thing I'll definitely say, I'm kind of having fun with this. I know I'm not doing like the best strats. Or just under 10 minutes, what I think is okay, but you can definitely do a lot faster than that getting to this part. We're gonna be walking past this shelter, but don't feel bad if you take it. Taking that shelter and then getting the chimney echo is something that we have done for quite a long time, and I'd recommend that. If you're getting the chimney echo, I recommend you skip the wall echo, but we're gonna be getting the wall echo today. I could jump on the false platform. We're just gonna go up here. But it's something I definitely see with a lot of newer runners or people who are like, oh, I want to get a really good run. Try to just have fun with game first. Ooh, don't want to do dumb things. You need to, I believe you have to throw to actually make it up that jump from the lower part. Try to just have fun with the game first. Don't reset on every mistake that you're like, oh, I know I can do that better. I'm gonna reset right now. Don't worry about that. Just finish a run. You could die 20 times. You get a 2-hour, 3-hour run of, say, this category. It's kind of whatever. You've done the run now. You know what it's like. You're like, huh, that spot was harder than I thought it was going to be. And that's just my kind of way to put it. When you're at the highest level and you've finished hundreds of runs, or however many you feel you are ready to take the best spot ever in the category, try to beat some dingus, that's their gamer tag. Try to beat some dingus and beat their best run. Then you have to start thinking of, all right, if I make this mistake or if I lose too much time before I get to this save, then I have to reset, because then it is legitimately impossible to beat your best time. But until you've gotten like really, really good times, don't worry about it. And even if you do, sometimes you just gotta finish the run, because you see a lot of runs that are at the highest level. It's a lot of just the beginning of the run, to the point where you're so practiced at the beginning of the run, but the rest of the run you're really not that good. So that one time you do get right near the end of the run, you're gonna make a mistake because you're not as experienced with it. Don't worry about it too much. Just try to finish runs sometimes. Having an okay start, of course, is good. Hopefully you didn't see me. I think they're scared of a king vulture, the way they're asking. Depending on how fast they're blinking, you can generally tell if they're scared. This guy's probably gonna see me. We're gonna do orb skip here. Let's talk about this for a second to make sure the teal lizard can't jump at me yet. Is we're going to be putting a spear just above the pipe on the right, and then we're going to be jumping up in that block there. There's another small block right above it, and the idea is, well, we'll just kind of show it. Idea is slap against the wall, and then on a... You want to slap against the wall so you make sure you're all the way to the right. I'm going to go back there. And then you want to jump up and be tapping. Tapping left. How much should I eat? I don't remember. You should have been dead. All these lizards have 2 health. Okay, I did eat. And we do 1.2. Just, it'll take, it's random rolls if they die. Once they hit negative health. Oh, that's not good. We're gonna wait a second here. I'm not gonna force it, because I don't want to be bitten. Whenever you're bitten by a lizard, there's a % chance that you die. And that being, for these lizards, for most lizards, it's around 33%. It's not always about exactly 33. And depending on what the dynamic difficulty is at, it'll also be higher or lower. Alright, did they... Why does it feel like that spear wasn't there anymore? Alright, we're here. We tap against the wall. We're standing here. We tap left and jump. And then we're just holding right. You can see my inputs in the bottom right. We're just holding right, and we want to press jump again. And then we'll get it. So you basically, if you want to be slapped against the little block like we are right now, but we can only be like that for a moment before our whole body starts to like wrap around the little block. And so if we jump up in that state where we're slapped against the little block, we'll then climb it. That's the biggest idea. There's a camel lizard there. Observe him. There he goes. I have no more rock. Gotta watch out for 4 white lizards. There are 5 cyans, 1 blue, 1 dropwig. We already walked by, and I didn't state anything about it. I'm sure he's fine. There's a king vulture. I'm not too worried about that. King vultures should scare these guys, hopefully. I'm gonna wait right here. I want these 2 to leave. They really want me, but they really don't want the king vulture. Every time you hear the bite noise from the vulture, so whenever people get really scared of vultures, the king vulture has definitely reasons, but if you heard that noise of it's going to do the bite, it makes an audible noise. You want to just hit them when they do that, and it'll interrupt them. Additionally, a vulture, when its mask is on, cannot kill you. It can only grab you. But if it grabs you, and then you throw a spear or a rock, like with lizards, if you're grabbed, you can throw a spear or rock, and you hit them, and they let you go. If you hit them, they don't always let go. I don't think they let go at all with a rock, but they will with a spear. They won't always do that. So sometimes you gotta decide what is the better option. I'm surprised the king vulture did not attempt to... I'm gonna get these spears while we're at it. King vulture did not attempt to fire its harpoons. But given the large audio visual of the harpoons, I wasn't too worried about it either. Just comes with getting used to creatures and dealing with them. Just knowing their mechanics is definitely a big thing. That room with the white lizards, there's a lot of different ways to go through it. The one really annoying part is you're generally going to be there without a spear. If they're going to be over that pit where I did knock that one into the pit, then we can just go by. One thing I will state is it's 4 white lizards. We only saw 3. I believe we went back through another one. There's still 1 more here. So I've been looking around looking for this guy. He can be in this 1 wide pipe. That is extremely rare. He's more likely going to be flat on the ground at the top of this section. So I'm going to kind of jump here. He's not there. Unless I went insane and counted and completely wrong. I'm just unsure. We can save at that shelter if we want to. However, we're not going to because there can literally be nothing in front of us. The 2 white lizards spawn right here to those pipes on our right. But they are scared of being in this room, which causes them to leave. And they won't come back unless they have significant reason to. They act very strange if you come in here right when they've spawned. We're just going to do some fast pole climbs. We want to 100% at least have 1 spear for this next part. This is the wall skip. We did the orb skip earlier, which was that jump with the little bumps in the wall, so we didn't actually have to enter the orb. Of course, in that situation specifically, should probably still enter the orb and then just go up it and go the normal way and you pin the spear at the top, but I still wanted to show it off, so we did. There's 2 ways to do this. There's the 2 spear method and the 1 spear method. What we want to do is start rolling about right here, right before the platform goes up. And then once you're used to rolling, we'll do the roll again. So listen to the roll, and then it'll automatically end the roll. So you hear bump, 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 bump. So we want to jump at the end of the roll. The farther you are in a roll, the higher the angle of the roll. And you only the highest angle will make us be able to throw the spear there. And we start the roll at the specific spot just because that is a good position to get that distance that we want. And positioning. Good marker for it, is what I mean. Going all these orbs is annoying. We only do so much. I do have the fast roll button active. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but I am playing on keyboard. There's definitely no problem between playing on keyboard or controller. You're just going to have harder times with a lot of the really advanced stuff, like fast pole climbing and the EI hop, because you got to press left and then right really, really fast constantly in those moves. But there's been a lot of controller players that have actually been able to do that and pull those off with decent consistency. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm just going to be saying whatever I'm thinking at any given time. Right now we're going to meet Pebbles. We cannot quit out when we meet Pebbles. We have to go back and then save, and then we're going to be going down the wall a little bit and then saving at that shelter we passed and then getting the wall echo. So then we have a really long time to get into. We do not want to pop this popcorn. There's a glitch happening in this room. A rock spawned between a pipe and geometry. It's constantly making sound. There's some places in other parts of the map that happens. And it messes up creatures. Okay, went around a lot of things. We're back here, just going down. Having that save after meeting Pebbles and after getting the echo that's still on the wall instead of being in Pebbles, it's definitely been something that's a little bit newer from routes we used to do. Some Dingus again is the world record holder. I assume that they have done a lot of the timings for it. I kind of just do the general idea of what they do for a lot of these hunter runs. He basically has every single hunter world record as it is. Going very fast, so I'm going to go back and hit the wall behind and then grab the pole. Otherwise, you'd want to slow down where you're kind of just going to blow by the pole there. Just going to be sitting here hanging out. I'm going to drink some water. We don't want to touch the pearls because it'll make them talk longer. We're not going to be getting a neuron because we don't need one. If you feel like you need a neuron, go out there, get a neuron, eat it, come back, and then exit back out through the right again. Basic idea, if you're concerned, because Pebbles will, if you, after a little bit, push you out through the access shaft we just entered. Jump right here, right when the anti-grav turns back on. Hopefully Pebbles won't body block you, and that'll get you pretty much where you want to be. Otherwise, if you're floating in 0G at the top of the roof, you want to jump holding, so be touching the wall. You'll see your hand kind of reach out and be touching the wall. And you're like right here, but on the roof. And then you want to hold only directly left and press jump. And you should slingshot far enough over here to be able to still get into the pipe. As you get used to ZRG, it'll make a lot more sense as you do it. Pebbles is going to give us our 5 extra cycles, even though we don't need it, as well as what we've came here for, which is the credit of helped Pebbles. Because technically this neuron has a bunch of slag keys in it, which help restart iterators. He takes a few of them for himself, but we're going to be giving the rest to Moon. Not exactly entirely sure how that works, but just a general idea. I'm just going to jump up right here to kind of show what I meant. Except I missed the jump, that's fine. But he doesn't actually start pushing us out till a bit later. So as long as we're on the roof right here, we'll definitely make it in. We would have made it in there, but I didn't want to keep holding up and actually go in. There's a glitch there where I can duplicate this neuron and actually increase our speed. I'm not going to fully go into that now, but this is really the only category other than 100% that could make use of it, because it's a thing where if you put the neuron in your stomach before you leave Pebbles' room, you will 100% always have the neuron in your hand, even if it's in your stomach. So you technically have 2 copies of the same thing, 2 abstracted versions. And if you exit to the next room while that's happening, and there's one in your stomach and one in your hand, immediately spit out the one in your stomach. You'll see 2 of them. You'll now be moving double speed. If you keep putting it in your stomach while holding the other one, and then spitting it out while holding the other one, you will gain another 1-time speed on top of that, and they'll keep stacking. When you exit to a new room, it'll reset your speed. And if you want to do it in other rooms, you want to bring both neurons. Preferably one's already in your stomach at the time. You have to have vanilla exploits on for this to work. And it only lasts for that 1 cycle. If you do it enough, you'll notice a magical 3rd one appears. If you have 1 in your stomach and 2 in the same room, you can then have a true duplication where it is literally 2 different neurons that have appeared. We're going to eat this popcorn. You don't... Actually, I think it is best to eat the popcorn. You can technically run into a white lizard. We're not going too far, though. I'm going to eat the full while we're at it. Yeah. This isn't about the glitch. We're not going to use it because there's not too many rooms we have to go through till we actually get to the end. That is a thing that can happen. And I like people to know that and be aware of it. If we could have that last for multiple cycles, and so we can just increase speed forever, that would be the really, really cool. But right now it's kind of, you could save before you meet Pebbles, and you can travel across the top of the wall real fast. And that's the most use you can really get out of it. Or otherwise, just that small section really fast. Going back across. Kind of trying to do as many fast rolls as we can, as well as any extended slides. If you can do normal slides, that's great too. If you can't do either, that's also fine. I'm just showing what I do. I like to consider myself an intermediate level. I really don't do fast pole climbs that fast. I really don't do EI hops, which I can try to do one now. Did it just a bit wrong. Did that wrong as well. I just want to show one off if we can. Almost getting it. Just want to show off the potential. This is only like something that was it. It's like we ran straight into rain. But you can basically do an extended slide, but you jump out of it at the same time. And so that gives you a lot of speed while still being in the air. You can jump when you hit the ground. It's kind of bunny hopping. It's not really. To keep that huge amount of speed from what was the extended slide. That's a lot of inputs going left and right, and then throw and jump. But it's just another level added on top of extended slides of just, you want that really fast horizontal movement, that's the highest level thing you're going to be using. But doesn't matter if you know that. Doesn't matter if you know really how to do much of anything. If you know how to pounce, you know how to go through the world, you know how to deal with creatures, that's all you really need. I'd recommend you try to learn how to slide and how to backflip if you can. These guys are scared to be in this room, so they're going to act a little weird. They are still going to follow me if they're looking at me enough, but they're going to be turning back eventually, especially if they haven't seen me for a bit. We're going to be going up and getting the echo now, and then we're going to be going back down. We're going to be going down Chimney, and then into Industrial, and then Shaded. After this. Yeah, saying it again. The biggest thing about this run is knowing how to deal with the creatures that you're going to run into. The faster you go, the more consistent it is with any speedrun of this game. We want to leave the moment we see one line of dialogue. I firmly believe that as someone who basically did no fancy tech for a really, really long time. Or at least am someone that doesn't go out of the way to do a lot of it and rather just do things consistently. Learning how to deal with the creatures, learning how to do things good enough, knowing what can and can't happen. All things you only get from experience, and as you get faster and faster you start seeing things as well, or like, I'm doing this and this part I know I do really slow, and I know other people, like maybe you saw in my run, I did this thing, or otherwise. Know what is possible and decide to try things. Also, when we're falling, if we fall a distance that would normally stun you, but we're trying to roll, that meaning me holding diagonal down, and I press jump at a correct timing, we'll actually start to roll, and I can jump out of that roll before I even actually touch the ground. This is good food for us. And that'll prevent us from getting stunned. And we'll move on. Yeah, I know, like, people think speedrunning, oh, it has to be the most complicated thing ever. There's kind of 3 levels of speedrunning. That being, you just learn the route, you just do the route, you have fun with it, you beat the run. Great, that's it. The next one is do it where you do it without dying. And that's as good of time as you can get given your current skill level and how you've dealt with certain situations. And then after that, it's getting the time down as much as you can with any sort of optimization, or at least as much optimization as you are willing. And you don't need to go that far. I know a lot of people think, oh, I've gotta go for a world record. World record is such a far off and a hard thing to go for. Wouldn't recommend going for it straight off. I know I at least speedrun video game, just give me a reason to play the game more. I like game mechanics. Just learning how things work is great. I also don't like that little bump there, because it's just a little bump and actually lining ourselves on it. I'm gonna, actually I'm not gonna do anything. You can do a fast roll on false floors, you know what I mean? So that little false floor, if you press down on it, you'll fall through it. It's such a troll little piece of geometry that they put there. Because the echo's in the area, this guy's asleep. One thing with loading of rooms is you're basically always going to find a sign lizard right here, if not multiple. We're going to be going straight down this time. We're separating from the Pebbles route. This is scary. I'm going to kill that guy because I hate him. And I don't want to deal with him. I'm just going to dispose of that. Having it in existence is more of a threat than anything else. What are you doing? You mind moving, sir? I'd like to leave. In that situation where you're trying to go through a pipe, but it's also trying to grab you at the same time, don't assume you're gonna make it through the pipe before you get grabbed. One suggestion for y'all. I messed that up. They're gonna be dropping in this next room. Okay. Sorry. I hate that dropwig. He's there fairly often, and he can be right in front of the pipe. That cyan just came through, but that room was unloaded at the time, so they can't actually interact with each other when the room isn't loaded. But when the room finally did load in, he was able to go through the room from there to the room I was in, but the dropwig and the cyan lizard didn't interact, so we get to deal with both at the same time, and it's just great. Right when he's right, that dropwig right above right there is horrible. That's the, like, there's knowledge checks for this game, and that's kind of one of them, that dropwig there. It's so funny when you see him too. Alright. Differing from Hunter Pebbles, the previous guide we did. We're going down Chimney. We made it down Chimney. Not too much more. Trying not to get stunned right there. I hear things. There's 3 of them. I hate this. I got 1 spear. If I had 2, I would jump in that. But if I whiff anything, that's another cyan. If I whiff anything, I'm unhappy. We're just gonna sit here because I can. That purple lizard's pretty messed up from the way he's been moving from the other lizards. I'd really hope he would go someplace else, though. I've failed myself. Alright. We are going to wait for them to all go to the right, except now this guy sees me. I hear something above me, so I'm going to wait a second. I'm not going to go up, because I don't know how that transition's going to go. We're going to go down now, because I accidentally made sound. He's not coming up, because they like doing that. This guy's scared of the vulture. Great. I'm gonna go this way now, because I believe I can boost faster than he can actually get to me, and then go around. I've wasted so much time, and I had just a high chance of dying to that white lizard if he really wanted to kill me. I don't need to eat food, even though this amount of food is good. There's a popcorn there in case you need food as well. I'm just gonna push it, because I don't want to deal with him in that situation, and I was already boosting. I've seen so few lizards in that spot that seeing both of them there is really weird. Me slowing down so much allowed them to kind of stay around and that room to load in. We're just going to keep going, because this is just showing the run. We don't need to have a good run for a guide. I want y'all to understand what can happen. The more you stick around an area and you're not moving forward, the worse it's always going to be. I really wanted to kill this guy. We're going to be able to, it looks like. I'm trying to... There we go. So right when you throw a spear, you can't pick it back up again. So I have one on my back, and then I stabbed him again. And then the next grab, it has to be the lizard. You have to... There's ways to grab creatures not with both hands. And so if you technically grab the creature second, it's in your less dominant hand, which means you can't eat it. It has to be in your dominant hand. It's just a weird situation. Dropwigs on the ground like that won't do anything. Dropwigs only attack immediately after they drop and for a certain time, or if they're otherwise provoked for some reason, which happens so rarely that it might as well not happen. If a dropwig's holding something, they cannot do anything to you. One thought there. I'm gonna drink water. Let's hope for not a wall of lizards in the way. So here's the biggest thing. One understanding why I didn't jump into those 3 lizards there. When it comes to lizards, and for most creatures really, 6 centipedes, it's they need to know you're there or know something they want to bite is nearby so that they can start charging their bite. In their case, for lizards, it's visually with how open is their mouth. And if you hear a snap, that means they have tried to bite and they need to then charge up their bite again and actually open their mouth again before they can bite. This is something actually quite useful if you're tongued by a white lizard and you need an option to get out of it. If you hear it audibly bite, you can then attempt to jump over it, which does work sometimes. But for when they're literally physically in the way. But basically what I'm trying to say is, with every creature that has to charge up their bite, like vultures and lizards and stuff, if you are fast enough, I kind of hear, although he barely knew we were there, you can just If you're fast enough, you can literally just walk through them. That's so unfortunate. White lizards have the smallest amount of instant kill chance, but the dynamic difficulty has been going up. Dynamic difficulty, if you have the current version up, gets higher every new region you go into. So it's starting to get higher. So there's a higher chance for... This guy's not dead for some reason. There we go. But the biggest threat for vultures and lizards is them seeing you for too long, or them literally being physical walls you can't move through. Just gonna stab that guy. White lizards are very tame. Unless I'm literally on it, it can't really do much to me once it's hurt once. But them being physical walls just means you literally can't exit the room, even if you did it really, really fast. So then they're blocking you, and then they have the higher chance of actually biting you, because they now 100% know you're there because you're on them. So yeah, vultures, especially in jumps in Chimney, can be really annoying because they're physically just in the way, when otherwise they're not too bad. Normal vultures, the other thing is why I'm really not scared of them. Normal vultures, if you stab them twice, even if it hits the mask and bounces off, they will always leave the room. If you knock a vulture's mask off, it may attempt to leave the room, but it'll come right back, because that vulture now hates you and will track you to the end of the earth to attempt to kill you. Their grab now will instantly kill you if their mask is off as well. But lizards, given how big their body is and how it can kind of slink around, can kind of like baseball mitt catch you. I don't really know how to explain that. Other than that, you can kind of see what I mean. If you try it for yourself and try to run through a bunch of lizards, especially ones that are directly next to a pipe you need to go through, where you're basically like, oh, I should just like barely touch this guy and then go around, but then they kind of like curve into you the moment you touch them, and then you're completely surrounded by their body, and then they bite you and you're like, wow, I couldn't move at all. I try to not throw items as long as I can, depending on the situation. If I know it's definitely going to hit it, I will throw it, especially if it's going to hit the body. Depending on the situation, you just want that small amount of stun, so even just hitting the head, do not be here. Thinking about this white lizard, it hasn't been a problem for me for quite a lot of runs, so I wasn't really thinking about it. But now he was there another time. This blue is dead now. We're gonna watch for this guy. He's not on the ceiling. But another good thing. And we get to see it live. That white lizard being really bad. Think about the white lizard going through the pipe right when you get there. Just because of how loading works, only rooms immediately around you are loaded. So if you're going really fast, the game's having a hard time catching up. So in a lot of cases, you're gonna go through a room, and then you're almost to the next room, and then a creature comes out of that next room. Because if a creature's coming from an abstracted room, in which case nothing interacts, everything just moves really fast between rooms. If you're just coming from an abstracted room that's starting to be realized and correctly loaded in, to a realized room that you're in or otherwise is loaded, then it won't actually go through until the room it's coming from is fully loaded. And so you'll see creatures come in from other rooms at the same time very often in runs, especially here in Chimney. Alright, hopefully not waste too much time. The Voltorb's having troubles. I was just gonna stand there and watch that. That was kind of funny. Alright. Get that man. Yeah! Alright. Moving on to Shaded. We gotta think about the scavengers, because they can always be problems, especially in giant flat area that is this room. They're really... Oh, that's unfortunate. They're really gonna be... I want this now that I failed a bunch of times. They're really gonna be the only threat right here. Not any other creature's gonna show up here. in this room and in this room. So once you're here, you're just thinking about that. Sometimes the threat theme, especially if you have the visualizer, especially through these past rooms, can help you know if there is in fact any scavengers in the way. That's something to think about. Alright, shaded. Now I know a lot of people are scared about this region. People don't like spiders. We're really not going to see any spiders. I know a lot of people think this region's really hard. This region's a pushover. This region is so much pushover. I did that extended slide a little too early. But we're really not going to run into things. There's going to be one spider. Hunter has wolf spiders and spitter spiders, which are the bigger, not polycipede spiders. That can mess you up. There's some lizards in the beginning here that can be in the way, but generally not. And there's one room where the polycipede spiders... What are you doing all the way out here? One room where the polycipede spiders can be a problem just because the lantern mice can rile them up by the time you enter it. Otherwise, for the rooms that does exist in, we're only going through one where they exist. And there could be a lizard through these next few rooms. We're just looking for him right now. There's a drop wig there. That's such a strange spot. Usually they're not really gonna interact with us because they're in a spot that isn't where we are. I actually forget that there's even a drop wig even here. They're generally not a problem. There can be a spider through this next section, especially in this next room that we're gonna be thinking about. Something to note is that the flashbangs will still... I believe they'll always stun a spitter spider, and they'll always kill a wolf spider. So if we entered this room and we hear any shuffling around that sounds like a spider, I'd just pick up one of those blue orbs and just throw it. And then you basically just pretend that they don't exist anymore. If you want to hold more for the next rooms, you can as well. There's really going to be nothing here in this room. Sometimes spitter spider can be here. See, the threat theme is 2. Not sure why. There is... I think that's the spitter spider. That was good on us. That is a wolf spider. Spiders really aren't a problem. They need quite a while of knowing you're there. They're really aggro. Right here is where the calicipedes can be annoying. If you have a lot of lantern mice just right here on that screen, you want to be paying attention to how many things are around you. Like if you see a bunch of stuff blocking your sight, you want to throw something so they all die to your throw. So having stuff in your hands is a big deal. Just understanding the route for these sections can be good. You're not always going to have these lantern mice showing you where things are. This is really the only real knowledge check other than that one spot where I planted a spear. If you noticed back a little bit ago, that spot where I planted the spear, also there's 100% always a constant spear spawn in that room directly before it, right before you enter that room. So don't feel pressured to always have a spear on you. Just know that that's there. All right, I'm gonna drink water. Also for speedruns, we do time by in-game time. Don't feel like you need to go super crazy. We'd like people just to go literally as fast as you can, both in real time and in-game time. But if you just walk up and go to the bathroom while on a sleep screen, we're not gonna rank you worse. All right, we're getting the echo now. Echo's not too much. Here's the distance. So I was talking to something just a little bit. You have no name. That being the person with the world record again. And this shelter that we're saved at technically can be the last shelter we save at in the run. So right now we're going to be going straight to Moon, and then we're going to try to save just inside of... We're going to be going up in this section here. You can go down to the right, but we're going to be going up and to the right. But you can make it to Moon and go all the way to the end if you have the longest cycle. If you do not have the longest cycle, it's not possible. You cannot be slowed down. You have to be really fast. So otherwise, what basically I'm telling you is we're going to 100% every time. Save right when we enter Subterranean. And if you don't feel like you're fast enough for that, I will point another location we can save. Otherwise, don't feel bad about saving anywhere. Just understand that as a meat eater, I also don't know how to do that jump fast. I always do pounce there if I'm a normal slugcat. But as a meat eater, there's not a lot of good food in Shoreline that is not jellyfish. We're going to be eating jellyfish unless something just happens to get in our path that is convenient. That's not a jetfish, because we're going to be using jetfish to our advantage. This is the jetfish category, and I quite like it. We'll be showing off what I mean a bit more about the jetfish category, because we're not just using it in Shoreline. We're actually be using it in Subterranean as well. Okay, water again. Moving on. Some little bits for these next rooms. That being, if you really want to eat, there's popcorn up at the top of this room. I want to make sure I don't fall into double kelp land. And then you can either jump down in the water here, or you can jump down from up top a bit later. I like it a bit earlier if you're more comfortable with water physics. The more you learn, the better it becomes. One thing about swimming is if you press jump in water, you will lose air and get less distance if you press jump in water. So only press it if you're just trying to get horizontal distance, and you can get air pretty often. So pretty much what I mean is don't ever press jump while in these tunnels ever, is what I'm really saying. We're going to go all the way. We're going to have the pushing downward of the... Okay, messed that up. The waterfalls help us out a little bit. So I'm kind of doing a snaking motion to go a little bit faster while also not grinding my face against a wall. Given the changes to swimming with downpour, we no longer naturally float upwards. If you are current version. If you are past version, you want to do the snaking version at least going slightly downwards so you don't scrape your face against the ceiling. Additionally, if you have the... I believe it's breath time leniency active, which is allowed for runs. This is unfortunate. We're going to try to bait this guy. He's not going to bite. Okay. As you figure out Leviathans, you understand how they act. There's kind of... We're just going to say there's three states. There's the active ready to bite state, which is it just going around, and if you're in its way, it will bite you. And this goes for any creature. It will not prioritize one over the other as far as I'm aware. Of course, everything's already going to go for the player a bit more, especially if you're doing good, because the dynamic difficulty kind of pushes them to do that. But they will kind of go for bites and anything. If they've recently bitten something or attempted to bite something, and they've fully bitten, or at least there's some kind of other hidden stat to it, then they will... I wanted to grab 2 jellyfish, but we're going to have 1 because we want to eat this jellyfish. We need to eat 4 jellyfish before we fully leave here, but... Ooh, messed that up. Didn't grab the pole. Sometimes you gotta press... So, funny thing about poles, before I talk about Leviathans again, because we're going to be passing that guy again, so I'll talk about it again. Funny thing about poles is that if you recently grabbed a pole... It likes... There's this kind of safety feature where it doesn't allow you to grab a pole again for a little while. And sometimes that's the reason why you don't grab poles. So if you feel like that's going to mess you up, I throw in just letting go of up and then pressing up again. And then because it's a whole new up press, it will do it. Alright, we bring out the neuron. We need to wait till it's actually going down directly towards her. Right now, we can leave. We have to be on the screen looking at her. If the neuron just went over there without us, it won't actually start to go down and then hit Moon. Once you hear the ping, you 100% know you can just leave. When we get the statistics screen at the end, we'll see that we did in fact get the saved Moon. Actually, I forget what it was, rescued Moon. Set up. I'm going to fall on purpose because I want this guy. Actually, probably didn't need to go on my way for that one. But I do think it's better. Alright, back to the Leviathan thing. We want to eat enough food to at least save. We only are going to rest the one last time. However, if you're going to rest here, which wouldn't be a bad idea, or a little bit after the Leviathan, that's also not a bad idea. If we hear the music, we also know that we've 100% saved Moon. If for some reason it doesn't show up in statistics and you do hear this music, I'm still just going to count it, to be honest. We're still just going to allow it. Okay, I did eat enough. When it comes to these jellyfish, also, by the way, only the tips of their little tentacles will grab you. And if you're ever not in water, that was a good throw. If you're ever not in water, they'll also let you go, which is why I always surface right next to a jellyfish. Just so I can be assured. Alright. Leviathan time. The 3 states. There's one where it's the active state where they're going to try to bite you if you're anywhere nearby. Same with other creatures. There's 2. It is recently bitten and will not bite again for X amount of time. I believe it's about 2 minutes. Leviathans also can leave and enter rooms at the bottom of rooms and side of rooms that are fully submerged, like vultures and reindeer. I'm gonna hold straight down. Didn't make it. And the 3rd state is if a Leviathan is attempting to leave the room, it also will 100% not bite. So there's some situations in that last room right before Moon where it is actually incredibly obvious that you know that it's going to attempt to leave the room out the bottom. And it will not attempt to bite. Alright, what is the timer here? Because that music stopped ominously. We are not going to make it to the shelter I want to make it to, which is in Subterranean with that timer. That song was not supposed to end yet. But it'll end because it is raining. We're seeing the visual changes. I'm going to try to keep the jetfish. Because we are a hunter, we are strong enough to pull jetfish up poles. Most other slug cats cannot do that. Actually, I'm not sure if any other slug cat can do that other than Artie. Maybe Gourmand? Not sure. But yes, that was the basic idea of the 3 states. Also, with jetfish, they really like to clip out of rooms, especially if they go in the corners. Do not let them be by themselves for any amount of time if you're trying to keep them, especially in shelters. Because the moment they clip out of bounds, they just fall in the void and then hit a death plane. They don't stick into walls like we do. We can crawl through walls if we're stuck in walls. Those walls are made of cheese for us. If we are stunned and outside of a wall, the wall's also not real. And we just fall down in the death plane as well. There didn't used to be... Oh, this is unfortunate. I haven't had this problem before. That was interesting. There didn't used to be a death plane at the bottom of the screen for the player. That was something that was added. If you hit any negative coordinates in a room vertically, you will just die. Right. Moving on. There's this room. You can do this swim straight up without a jetfish. Otherwise, there are jetfish in this room. I do 100% recommend you carry a jetfish from the room directly before Moon. You kind of saw... Oh, I didn't explicitly state it, but you saw me do it. There's the whole jetfish strat of you come up from the under the tunnels where all the water is, and then you're in the open area right before you actually enter the structure that looks to the moon. You need to grab... You really want to grab a jetfish in there. You get past the Leviathan, you actually enter the structure, you go all the way to the end of that room, you throw the jetfish, you go meet Moon, you come back, you pick up the same jetfish that you let go earlier, and then you want to hold that one through this whole section I say you should try to do that because it's easier if you get it earlier on. Of course, you don't have to have it at any given point. You can throw it away if you really want to and then pick one up later. But in my experience, it's just always hard. Also, jetfish heads. When they hit something, they do a small amount of damage and will often stun the creature. This is really unfortunate. I'm just checking my breath meter, which also means that if we hit a snail, it'll 100% always pop. Usually these guys are not in the way, but not today, it seems. I'm drowning now. You get to like 1 dot on the air visual. We'll get stunned. This is very unfortunate. I've not had this kind of issue before here. But normally it's because these guys spawn in this room, and if we didn't save, they would have been able to move through the rest of the rooms a lot more. Alright, this next room, you can swim through the bottom here. If we had not saved, there could be snails in this tunnel. But you can swim through the tunnel if there isn't snails. Even if there is, you can still. If you do not have a jetfish, it is possible. You just can't mess up. Kind of said it earlier, again, if you have the remix setting that is, I believe, breath time leniency, it gives you a bit of time right when you're almost out of air and fully out of air to still move a little bit, and then you'll also float slowly upwards once you're fully stunned before you actually fully die. And when you're in that state, in the past, when you started drowning, all of your movement in the water would just become slower. But now, when you hit that state, whenever you're drowning in water, you'll slowly be floating upwards, 1. And 2, if you attempt to move upwards, you'll actually still move at the same speed you normally do. You might actually even move faster. I'm unsure, but I know that's a thing. Also, we're bringing jetfish to subterranean. Wow. Wow. I'm going to try to save in here just because this is what we would have expected from a run, is to actually be able to get all the way to here and save instead of having to take the side save. Should have been thinking about it. Got scared immediately. This, right when you enter this room, is terrible for immediately there being a scavenger. Okay, my mouse is here. Immediately there being a scavenger right here. You pop up and he stabs you in the face and you die instantly. That happens a lot. Be aware of it. It is a thing. It has killed many runs. This guy's right there. There's a drop wig there for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna go back down. Also, for actually getting this jetfish up into the room, you kind of wanna boost while on the pipe, and then you're at the top of the pipe and you have the momentum and then you jump again. Because that's how you get up here with the jetfish. We'll explain why we want the jetfish when it's relevant. This guy is actually still alive. That's fine. Please move away, nice man. He's not actually going to attack us. I'm gonna try to eat popcorn here so we have plenty of time to save there and then show what it's like immediately coming from a save. I'm gonna hope you don't clip out of bounds real quick. Don't do it. You're trying, I know you are. This is really the only good food other than popcorn and that guy killing himself with a bomb. Maybe I should have just went forward, but why would he be there? Alright, we're gonna do this again. This is what I'm saying. They just come out of the woodwork. I left my jetfish over there, and this guy's on me, and he's not on me now. Why? Alright, we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna pretend we don't have a jetfish. Was the jetfish even there? Did he clip out of bounds instantly? I might have not even known. We definitely did save with him, though. Ooh. But yes, we're showing the authentic run. This is exactly what happens. I would recommend you don't try to save there if we saved here, but I still want to save there just to show the spawns you're likely to see when you do save there. I want to see... I don't think we can get enough food before we get there. But the spawns are pretty consistent when we save there, and for the main idea, it is that there are centipedes immediately there, and then we'll also see the same entourage of drop wigs in certain positions as well. Alright, moving along. You can make this swim without jetfish. We're gonna see all of these snails here because we saved at that location and they didn't get much time to move. We want to try to not hit them so they don't pop. Much better. I should just jump over the bumps more often. Otherwise, normally they don't form a protective barrier with their bodies on the underwater swimming sections. I should just swim down the lower section if I have the jetfish and not go up here. I'm just so used to not doing the swim below us. Because he already did the one annoying swim. I'm not doing another one if you don't have a jetfish. There is one weird thing that can happen here. On, I believe, one of the pipes on the ceiling here, there's like a 10% chance of a salamander to spawn. Just because of how lineages work, it initially is a lineage of nothing, and every cycle that passes, there's a 10% chance the nothing becomes an actual creature. That being a salamander. There's not a lot of places like that. Generally, it's you kill something, next cycle it rolls 50% chance. Will I respawn or not? Yes? Alright. I'm gonna roll, am I going to go forward on my lineage tree? If it even has a lineage tree. Sometimes it'll always be the same creature. And then it rolls that, and it'll be yes or no, depending on the percentage it has. There's an interactive map. You can easily find out all of the stuff for that. Every cycle, even if it doesn't roll the 50% respawn chance, it's also like 30 for Survivor and Monk. It's 50 for Hunter and most other characters, though. But if it doesn't respawn, it still rolls Will I Lineage. However. Alright. Surely no bad men will assassinate me this time. Jetfish dance. Do not run away. Don't you dare clip through the ground. Look at that guy. All he has is hate in his eyes. Alright. Let me out. Let me out. Really can't go backwards, going upwards with the jetfish. You have to... I was hoping I could do it through the one block, but if you're ever upside down, especially in that one part in Moon, right when you're trying to get back out to the open area, is when that's most relevant. Alright. Jetfish. Jetfish no longer needs to be alive, but while holding his body, when we slide with his body, we get sent huge distances. You don't need to do this, of course, but I love it. And it is the faster and better strat if you're trying to go to the faster way. So I do recommend. Alright. A lot of cases, like in that case, just happened, the centipede actually grabbed the jetfish, not me. So you can decide to sacrifice the jetfish if that is so better. You won't grab me. Okay. I kind of messed up my movement there. I don't really know how to explain this. Just try to slide. Just try to slide. Also, if you do a backflip and do a roll, it also do the same thing. This guy's not a threat because he's not dropping from the ceiling. There can be two of these guys. Jump across there. Slide and go. One of them's trying to get me. These centipedes gonna be annoying. Rule for centipedes: if it's bigger than you, it can kill you. That is all of how they work. If they're not noticeably bigger than you, they cannot kill you. There's often a dropwig there. Also, that kelp is been retracted, so he probably ate the dropwig. Nope, there's the dropwig. There's also berry warrior dropwig here. We're gonna be going this way. Scavenger is not enthusing. Not happy to see that, but he is dead. Another secret dropwig. Now, game's lagging a lot because of the Mirospurs. They like to do that. If they start interacting with creatures, it's not good. You can listen for where they are. I didn't think they were going to be in the way, and they were not. I'm just going to leave. If you have the current version of the game, I really recommend having on centipede pipe protection. The basic idea is if they grab you, and then you go through a pipe, whatever's grabbing you at the same time will go through with you. In the past, you would just die instantly if it was a centipede that was coming through with you, if it grabbed you, which was, it was stupid. And now that doesn't happen. They let you go, and there's a small period of time where they can't grab you. So, big recommend, make sure that setting's on. I don't know if it's on by default, but it should be. Alright, this is really... We don't need the jetfish anymore. Pretty sure that only hit the jetfish. It's really unfortunate this guy's in the way. He's sleepy now. He's dead? Sick? I want my spear back, Mr. Man. He's running away with it. Back here. Thank you. I dropped it. Alright, I'm not going back for it. Why is there 3 of them? This is very weird. I've normally ever experienced 1. Alright, this is the fastest path that we're going right now. You can also go to the right or go even further down. But we just need to make it... Oh, this is good. Just need to make it to right here. We might not want to be standing on 2 feet. We might just want to be flopping around and jumping on 4 feet. Because there can be molas and other things that attract to sound. But making sound will also make them show up so we know where they are. They generally cannot get to where we are. Normally, we don't want to be stuck in a 1 wide pipe. I kind of don't want to go for that spear in that situation. I hear things I'd rather not be. Hopefully he's not in the way. This part right here, something, spider can appear in the top left here and just be super in the way. Is this a spear? Nope, it's a rock. I'll take it anyway. Alright, this drop. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to slap against this wall. Just making sure it's not in the way. There's a bad man. As so unfortunate. I should have threw the spear immediately, but I wasn't sure how aggro he's going to be. Get to do it again, though. There's always something... It's very often something coming through that pipe. I didn't think it was going to be a scavenger. I was going to try to greed, grab it, and then go up on the pole on the right of him. Yes, hit the jetfish, not me. Hit the jetfish. Jetfish is slightly in front of me. And they know that, so they're not going to throw it. And then the moment the jetfish is not in the way, they will immediately throw. Not much you can do when the scavenger's right there, but that really isn't a time loss. Because we're right there. That scavenger that did kill us, though, was really bad. We're going to do this again. This is a really good place just to see examples of what can happen. Of course, you've basically seen all of the route at this point, because we're right next to depths. Once we hit depths, I am going to stop the recording. Also, we get to see rare item spawns for dropwigs. They can spawn with a wide variety of items. We've got the sea lantern thing. I actually forget what it's called. It's called glowweed. That's what it is. Don't like where this guy is. I'm going to go around. You kind of don't see the dropwigs. Kind of just got to go. This jump is horrible. You really want to make sure you get up here. But yeah, the ceilings are very high. You're going to be moving pretty fast with the jetfish. I just think it's fun. Fun time with jetfish. Also, don't technically need to go all the way up here, but I think it's better with the jetfish. Of course, you're probably going to run into a dropwig. Just move fast. Everything's fine. You do want to roll a little bit just so you get that better angle with jetfish if you are rolling. to get a jump. It's been such a rare time that there's actually a Miros bird right here in the way, because usually they're all gonna be in the last loaded room, which is the one that we were just in. And you don't. If you ever touch a spider in the back, I touched it in its front, which is really unfortunate. Does not stun him. Alright, now we've learned. If you ever touch a spider, any of the 3 big spiders in the back, that's the back is the side with the colorful frills. You touch them in the back, then they will freak out. I'm gonna actually let this guy go. Touch them in the back, they freak out, and they kind of don't really attack you, or at least they'll run away a bit before they do anything else, especially if like the first interaction with them is you touching their back. I tried to show it off there, and I just happened to jump over them instead. A little unfortunate. So sometimes that is a useful tactic. Also just knowing which side's the front and which side's the back. There's definitely a lot of situations where you'll notice what they're doing and how many things they have. There's just a bomb on the ground there. I don't want that. Don't see anything, so we're gonna rush it. I'm worried about something coming through this pipe. So I'm staring at it directly. When you get used to things, you're like, alright, there's nothing here. I've made a bit of sound. Something should have revealed itself. I can hear a spider right now. It's in the spot I'd rather it not be. There was one there I didn't notice. So then you full commit to just paying attention to, like, just the pipe to my bottom left here. There's very often a lizard. So entering this pipe is horrible, as we've already seen. There's very often a lizard like right here or right here, and it's basically impossible to tell that they're there. You have to pay super attention. If you have a rock, I almost just recommend just throwing it immediately just to see if there's something there. Because once you're actually out of the one wide pipe, it's fine. But if there's a guy right about to enter it or already in it, it's not good. Going through that whole section, kind of knowing where that one pipe is in the dark area is something you need to know. And you can bring up the map if you really need to check where it is, kind of just making not a lot of sound. There can be a lot of lizards kind of in the way. And just knowing the 2 different ways you can go around to actually get there. You can also drop all the way to the bottom and then go to the left if you feel that that is better. At least I believe you can, because there's been... Don't think I can bring the mouse in here. It's been such a long time since I've gone into this kind of dark area on the side there. But we dropped down, we went to the left, we went down and down and to the left, and now we're here, and then we went down. Alright. But again, very bad area, right where we died. A lot of things like to come up right when we get there. Being ready to be on the pole on the right is a good idea. Right when we enter the room, we either want to boost out immediately, and literally being anywhere but right there is a good idea. Even if we land directly on a lizard, yes, the lizard can freak out and instantly bite us, but it's generally not going to do that. Pretend all purple-like lizards are going to act like a purple. That being, there is the purple lizard, the cyan lizard, the mole lizard, and the orange lizard all have the ability to act as aggressively as the purple lizard, but not generally going to do that. But knowing that they can be is a big thing. I don't think there's anything else to say. This has been Hunter Story. This would probably be a 125, which for kind of going around and talking about things, and I think we had 2 really big deaths. This is a pretty good time. But thank you all for watching. Even if you just watched the route, I hope you all learned something, or at least are interested in trying out the run. This again is just me. I wanted to talk about the run, show the run, have a run that specifically says guide, and be like, all right, look at this one. This is of course going to be better at intermediate level. There's a lot of basic things I didn't really talk about. That'll be for a different video. But showing the run, Hunter is a very difficult one, but is a lot easier than Spearmaster Story, and you get to do a lot of very interesting movement, understanding how creatures work, and actually execute upon that, and have a lot of power as well, because we have a lot of strength of just having the 1.25 damage. Having the back spear just is such a big deal and helps out quite a lot, especially when we're going up the wall and doing the orb skip. And then we have a second spear for the second spot, and maybe there's another spear there, and we actually get to go up the wall and still have a spear when we're entering where the 4 white lizards are. Works out quite well. We had the king vulture there. That's just kind of how it goes. And again, if you want to do this run, you can also do it where you get the chimney echo instead of the wall echo, in case you really want that save so you're actually out of Sky Islands. Sky Islands is a rough one. That one jump across the gap where I plan to backflip at a certain spot, that's one that definitely is something to practice, because new players, whether it's speedrunning or doing a hunter run for the first time, are like, oh, I'm gonna go to Sky Islands, I actually kind of like it, and they get to that room and it just chews them up, and then they die once and it just goes downhill from there, because then they can't leave the region. You can use karma caching to get back up, that being you starve and then quit out at a shelter, and you can figure it out from there. But again, yes, I hope this is useful for y'all very interested in speedrunning. I'll be doing more of Hunter before I move on to another character. That being we're doing Pilgrimage next. All right, I'll be back. Goodbye.